Sent from Disneyland, history in our hand. So much to say about yesterday and the decades we have spanned. Postcards from the park, this journey will embark. See what has changed and what remains on Sent from Disneyland. Sent from Disneyland.
Welcome to the Sent from Disneyland podcast.
Here age relives fond memories of the past.
If it's your first time joining us, welcome. On this podcast, we'll take a journey into the past and explore Disneyland, Disneyland history, and more, with mementos, snapshots, souvenirs, and postcards sent from Disneyland, from 1955 to the present. Let's start by thanking my patrons from patreon.com. You can join in at any level to support the show and receive snail mail from my trips to Disneyland and from my desk, plus some sneak peeks and bonus content. Special thanks to Random Olive, the first patron to this podcast, and to the rest of the e-ticket patrons, Tania, Eric Daniels, Monica Seitz Vega, Bill Dreffel, Scott Cagle, Russ Romano, Michael and Christina Cross, Angela Reynolds, and Sheila Harry. C-ticket patrons Serious Inquiries Only, Debbie Weinstein, Jennifer Schneep, Grace Coate, Patty Wolin, and Ben and Noel Bruning. B-ticket patron Joshua Bell, and to the A-ticket patrons Elise Sharp, Zealot Infinity, Alexis Robles, Angel DeBlock, Daps Magic, and the Beyond the Railroad podcast. I am your host, your post-host Clocky, and today we have 2 postcards sent from Disneyland. The front of our first postcard has the flower market on Center Street and Main Street, USA. You can see the side entrance of the Crystal Arcade and the bathrooms at the end of the street. And if you look closely, you can see a couple of the Main Street windows, as well as guests enjoying the Carnation Cafe. On the back it reads, Flower Mart. One of the loveliest and most photographed spots in Disneyland is the beautiful Flower Mart on Main Street, where guests may enjoy the world's finest natural flowers not grown by nature. It's postmarked August 5th, 1967, with Can Do Navy Seabees 25th Anniversary Cancel, and a 4-cent black and white Lincoln postage stamp, Scott number 1282. I assume they visit the park on Friday, August 4th, 1967, when park hours were from 9 a.m. to 1 a.m. The weather was a high of 81 and a low of 65. It's addressed to Mr. and Mrs. Cherney of Portland, Oregon. It reads, August 4th, 1967, Friday. Dear Grandma and Grandpa, I don't have much to say, but I had fun at Disneyland. Friday. Love, Susie. XOXO XO XO XO. Walking down Main Street and above the market house is a window that reads, Carpenters and Joiners, George Mills, Ray Conway, Chaz Alexander. The 3 honored by this window spent a lot of time working out of the Main Street Opera House, while it was a lumber mill for the entire park. George Cole Mills Sr. was born on October 19, 1903 in Petaluma, California. He spent the least amount of time working for Disneyland from these 3. He started as a carpenter in the San Fernando Valley and moved to Hollywood to make props and build sets for 20th Century Fox. He was hired for Disneyland in 1954 and left before 1956 to start his own business. Soon after, he was hired to build Apache Junction, a resort near Mesa, Arizona, which was never built. He moved back to California, where he worked with his son running Fromm Brothers Hardware in Reseda, a business they purchased and ran as Mills Hardware in the early 1960s. George was responsible for many of the carpenters who came to work at the park in the early days, including his son, who came back to Disney to work on many more projects. George Sr. died on March 1st, 1984. The Main Street window is the only tribute I could find for him. The second name on the window is Ray Conway. Raymond Emroy Conway was born on December 26, 1890, in Philadelphia. He was a carpenter and a millwright for an airplane factory and moved to Los Angeles in the 1920s, where he shifted to build sets for movie studios. Similar to George, Ray stayed on for less than a year after Disneyland opened, and died on March 28, 1983. Add some flair to your mail by checking out stamps at Enfield Post. You can explore different stamp options on our Etsy site, grab some great deals by following the EP Sunday Sales on Instagram, or create something special and have her design a stamp array for your invitation or celebration. You can head over to EnfieldPost.com and explore all the different vintage postage stamps you can use on your next card or letter. That's ENFIELDPOST on Instagram and EnfieldPost.com for your wedding and vintage postage needs. Enfield Post is the official postage stamp sponsor of the Sent from Disneyland podcast. The front of our next postcard has a view down Main Street, USA. You can see one of the horse-drawn streetcars in front of the Emporium, and if you look all the way down, you can see Sleeping Beauty Castle. If you look closely, you can see one of the Main Street trash cans, as well as the old street signs for Center Street and Main Street. On the back it reads, Horse-drawn streetcar. The leisurely pace of days gone by is seen from the plodding, horse-drawn streetcar as guests ride down Main Street, USA, viewing America at the turn of the century. It's postmarked August 18, 1971, with an Anaheim cancel and a 6-cent U.S. flag over the White House postage stamp. Scott number 1338. I assume they visited the park on Tuesday, August 17, 1971, when park hours were from 8 a.m. to 1 a.m. The weather was a high of 83 and a low of 66. It's addressed to Mr. Bob Smith of Chelmsford, New Jersey. It reads, Hi Bob, having fun. Weather beautiful but hot. Mary spending some time with me. Ginger sends her best. Danny. The third name on the window is Chaz Alexander. Charles Pierce Alexander was born on December 24, 1906, near Dallas, Texas. He started working with his father, building and repairing houses before moving to Los Angeles around 1930. He was working in Hollywood when Disneyland was hiring carpenters to build the park. He oversaw construction in the early days and moved to the park payroll department as field supervisor for the construction department just a week before opening day. Unlike the other two honored on the window, Charles continued to work for the park in the maintenance division until his death on February 19, 1970. While learning about these three guys in the window, I found another name that should be included on a Main Street window, Al Alvarez, who was born on April 23, 1929, in Anaheim. He grew up harvesting around the Imperial Valley and finished high school, then ended up back in Anaheim working for the packing houses, a movie theater as a projectionist, and as an asphalt worker. This led him to the labor union, looking for work in June of 1955. He began working for George Mills and continued to work third-shift maintenance for the park until 1958. He transferred to working in the decorating department, hanging awnings on Main Street, the drapes in the Golden Horseshoe, and various flags around the park. In 1966, he moved departments again to the labor department, where he stayed as the daytime foreman until he retired in 1991. He died on June 8, 2018. But there are no references or honors to him in the park. He was on the platform on opening day of the monorail and held the infamous malfunctioning ribbon-cutting scissors. It's incredible to think that the work of these four are still standing today. My incoming postcard is sponsored by the Art Throwdown. Art Throwdown, or ATD, is a craft hour on Instagram starting at 9 p.m. Eastern or 6 Pacific. Art Throwdown is a wonderful community of artists who love to share their craft, from creating sticker postcards and coloring techniques to intricate paper cutting and unique crafting. It's always a treat to watch a show and occasionally get some one-of-a-kind postcards from the group. Each host brings something a little different to each show. I'll list some of the regular hosts, or you can follow Russ Romano 2021 on Instagram. The front of my incoming postcard has Walt, Roy, Lillian, and Edna standing under the sign for Walt Disney Municipal Park. The sign has Mickey on one side, pointing to a train on the other side. On the back it reads, Walt Disney Hometown Museum, Marceline. Walt, Lillian, Roy, and Edna pose for photos with local dignitaries during the official opening of the Walt Disney Municipal Park. It's postmarked May 17, 2025, with a Walt Disney Post Office, Marceline, Missouri cancel, and a 2 Sailboat Forever postcard postage stamp, Scott number 5747. It reads, Wish you were here in Marceline with me, Clocky. Weather is 72 degrees, and the attendance is 3,172. Brian. Thank you so much for the postcard, Brian. I was envious of your trip to Marceline. I was watching your Instagram posts while at Disneyland. Another great place to be when the weather is nice. I also love that Marceline has a great postmark. There's an official Kansas City postmark as well on the card, but the pictorial postmark has the words, Where the Dream Began, with Walt's dreaming tree and 2 figures underneath it. It could be Walt and Roy, or it could be Walt and Mickey. In any case, it's great to have a special postmark for the museum. Thanks for listening to Sent from Disneyland. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe and tell your friends. It would also help to leave a 5-star rating and comment on whatever podcast platform you use. If you'd like to support the show financially, please check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/sentfromdisneyland. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Sent from Disneyland, or my website, sentfromdisneyland.com. For questions and comments, send me a postcard addressed to Sent from Disneyland, P.O. Box 44, Hood, California, 95639. This podcast is not affiliated with Disney, the United States Postal Service, or any post office or Disney-related properties. Opinions expressed on this podcast belong to the host and guests of the Set from Disneyland podcast. This podcast is produced and edited by Clocky McDowell, website designed by Misty McDowell, theme song was written and performed by Noah Sunday Lefkowitz. Take it away, Noah.